In the 1980s, she was the woman every leading man wanted opposite him. Sultry, commanding, impossible to ignore on screen. The tabloids had a story about what happened to her afterward. It wasn't true. The real story was something she hid, on purpose, for years. Kathleen Turner's early life wasn't glamorous. She spent much of her childhood moving between countries as the daughter of a State Department official, and lost her father suddenly as a teenager, an early loss that shaped her long before Hollywood ever noticed her. She built her career the hard way, through theater work, before her breakout role as a femme fatale in 1981's Body Heat turned her into an overnight sensation and, soon after, one of the defining sex symbols of the decade. At the height of that fame, not long after giving birth to her daughter, Turner began experiencing pain unlike anything she'd felt before, sharp, shooting, unexplainable. In 1992, in her late 30s, she was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, an autoimmune condition that attacks the joints and, left untreated, can be severely disabling. One doctor told her plainly that she would likely spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair. She fired him and kept working. What followed was one of the more painful open secrets in Hollywood history. Turner made the deliberate choice not to tell the public what was happening to her body. She has since explained her reasoning bluntly. She believed that if studios knew she had a chronic illness, no matter how well managed, they simply wouldn't hire her. So she kept climbing stairs in heels on stage, kept showing up on film sets, and let the world draw its own conclusions about the weight gain and puffiness caused by the steroids she'd been prescribed. Those conclusions were cruel. Tabloids and critics openly speculated that she'd become an alcoholic, mocking her appearance without any idea what she was actually enduring. Turner has said she tried to laugh it off at the time, joking darkly that people would rather she be seen as a drunk than as disabled. But there was real truth buried inside that joke. As the pain worsened, she genuinely did turn to alcohol, using it as a kind of makeshift painkiller during a period when her illness left her unable to get out of bed without help. For over a decade, Turner endured this largely alone, undergoing joint replacement surgery nearly every year for 12 years while maintaining a public image that had nothing to do with the disease actually running her life. In 2002, recognizing how much alcohol had become entangled with her pain management, she made the decision to enter treatment and prioritize her health and her family over the image she'd spent years protecting. It wasn't until years later, in interviews she gave in her 60s, that Turner finally spoke openly about what she'd survived, describing the disease's toll not just on her body, but on her sense of self, since so much of her early identity had been built around her physical presence on screen. She's spoken candidly about the specific frustration of watching male peers struggle publicly with addiction and still get hired, while she felt certain that admitting to a manageable illness would have ended her career outright. Rather than let that fear define the rest of her life, Turner eventually shifted her focus toward theater, where she continued performing at a high level even as her arthritis remained in long-term management. She's since written candidly about the entire experience in her own memoir, trading the silence that once protected her career for an honesty that, by her own account, felt long overdue. So the next time one of those glamorous old photographs of Kathleen Turner circulates again, remember the years hidden behind it. A woman who kept a debilitating illness secret not out of vanity, but out of survival, and who eventually chose to tell the truth anyway, on her own terms, when she was finally ready.